Well, it's another week in which we are going to be discussing what is going on in the world of soccer, and more specifically here in 254 in Kenya, and what is going on in the Kenyan capital, especially where things are hotting up in terms of discussions of soccer. It's not so much what's going on the field. It's a lot more that is going off the field that we want to discuss. I am Otieno. I am in the company of one of the most qualified persons to talk about soccer in this country. As a coach previously with a Kenyan club, Tusker FC, also with APR of Rwanda, also with Yanga of Tanzania, and also with Kenya's national team, Harambee Stars. Jacob Mulee is a technical person. He's been the technical director as well, so he would understand what's going on there. And having been a coach, of course, he has been deep in the politics of football in the country. Jacob, thank you for joining us again. A lot of talk, even online, even on televisions, is about the elections, is about the transition of what's going on between KPL, between FKF. Let's start at the beginning. What is the current state of Kenyan soccer, in your opinion?
Well, I think looking at what is happening, first of all, it has been affected by the whole world. We know what is happening at the moment with COVID-19. However, I think before that, we already had an election that was taking place. Then it was stopped by the Sports Dispute Tribunal. But then again, when they wrote to FIFA said that the current president must stay on until we'll have an election. So people are thinking that things will be moving very fast. There will be another election, but that has not happened. And also in the knowledge that what Federation said, they had given KPL until September to be able to run the Kenya Premier League. And then after that, they will revert to maybe to the Federation. So a lot has been happening, but you cannot say what direction it is following. There's still a pending election that is coming up. So we're still, it's a kind of a wait and see situation, although there are many candidates who have already offered themselves for the president position. And we are still waiting to see when maybe people will start gathering to see if people have started campaigning. Of course they have, but not fully, because there is no gathering at the moment. So there's a lot of confusion going on, but all in all, I think everybody is waiting for the elections to take place.
Let me bring you back to the current state before we get to the elections as well. The league was declared finished. A champion was declared. A relegation candidate was declared. A promotion candidate was declared as well. What's your comment on that?
Well, I think I would say our federation rushed into making that decision. However, as time has gone by and we cannot, as Kenya today, be able to gather, then it looks like it was the best decision to make, because at that particular moment, what they were using to declare a champion was something that is legal, is in the books. So I think they just made a decision earlier than anticipated, but I think it has worked well. Now we know Gor Mahia are champions according to what was declared, and I don't think there will be any football being played at the league again until maybe next season. Every team is preparing for next season. So you'd say it was a decision that was made in a rush, but at the end of the day, it had turned out to be a good decision.
The team that was just behind the team that was declared champions feels that if they were given a chance to play the matches that they had remaining, they would probably catch up with the champions and probably beat them as well.
Well, those are if, buts, and when. But the reality on the ground, I mean, if we were a developed country, let's say like the English Premier League, which resumed and has ended, all the games have been played, then you would argue that. But we don't even have maybe the facilities to be able to resume contact sports. Then it becomes something that you can not actually argue right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, elections. What do you think is a proper way of conducting those elections, especially for the Kenyan situation? Delegate system, some people are saying the delegates have been compromised. We have new candidates who are saying things must change. What's your opinion?
Well, I think this has been a big problem in Kenyan football when it comes to election. And every other election comes with its own hurdles and comes with its own stories. Currently, we know the system that has been used previously by the Federation. Some people are saying that we have already devolved. We are already in counties, so people should vote from the county level. And The federation had its own branches that I think those are the guys who voted. So there is still not clear path on who has complied. I mean, if we are going to go into the county way, then it means that everybody must comply to be able to be recognized as a football running your own affairs of football in county level. And this has not happened. And I don't think there's time, looking at what is happening today, to be able to come to speed with that. So maybe it's going to be a situation where the stakeholders need to talk, but the federation also need to give way on the way forward. And FIFA also has been invited to be able to sit with the federation and stakeholders to come and resolve this impasse.
So at the moment, would you say it is a standoff between FKF, KPL, and FIFA as well?
I wouldn't call it a standoff. I would just say after maybe the COVID-19, there will be a direction.
There will be a direction.
Yes.
Now, this transfer or this transition from KPL to FKF, do you think it's just teething problems, or is it viable, or is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? What do you think is going on? FKF says they are taking over. Other stakeholders say the president is only there until September. Other stakeholders say the president does not have an executive at the moment. He's operating on his own. He can't make decisions because they need to be sanctioned. Are these teething problems, or is this a real problem that we're having?
But let's go back to where it started biting KPL. Money. Money has been a big problem because the league, we have seen that teams have been struggling. And when FKF or Nick Mwenda, the president, came up with a sponsor to sponsor the KPL, then I think that was a game changer, because KPL has teething problems concerning finances. And here is somebody who comes in and brings money to the clubs. And I would be worried that that takeover is not good if the KPL clubs refuse to take the money from the sponsors. All the 18 clubs, they took the money, showing that already it's like they're agreeing with the federation's decision maybe to take. Actually, I was with in the federation offices. They're not taking over running the KPL. What they are trying to do is to change the secretariat of the KPL to go and work from the federation, because they have offices there and they will have their own personnel. Actually, they will run their own league. What federation is doing is just trying to boost the KPL maybe financially.
Mm-hmm. They talked about having a transition committee, which was supposed to be chaired by the chairman of Ulinzi Football Club. You heard about that, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And there was supposed to be a meeting that didn't quite take off. What's your take on that?
Well, when they have a committee, clearly it shows you something is in the offing. And it's a big change, because I was just reading that the champion, normally KPL had the champion, the champion. The
chairman of the KPL
of the winning
is usually
club
yes.
becomes the chairman.
Yes.
But it looks like those rules are being changed right now. Mm-hmm. And when you look at that, when top 5 chairmen from the KPL teams have already decided or have formed that committee, where FKF also is going to be kind of an advisory role there, mm-hmm. I think it's a time that Kenyan football is changing, and the change is here, and I don't think we are going to see a very big difference. Maybe a lot will going to change between maybe kind of the acrimony that we are witnessing. Mm-hmm. KPL saying this and FKF saying this. I think what maybe the federation is trying to do is to harmonize.
Have one voice.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's long overdue. Because at one time we were looking like two kind of powers mm-hmm. Running football. But right now, when they harmonize it and talk in one voice, I think that's the way to go.
You mentioned something about sponsorships. Obviously, a good league thrives where there is sponsorship. You know, it's a product that you sell and sponsors like to come on board. Kenya's had issues with sponsorship. The last 5-10 years, the biggest sponsor that came was a broadcast partner called SuperSport. But the rest of the time, there hasn't been a sponsor. Now, the story of sponsorship is again creating acrimony. What is the problem? What is the benefit? What is the demerit?
Well, I think when you look at sponsorship, you want to look at where is Kenyan top league being ranked in Africa, and what kind of how are they selling themselves as a league to potential sponsors. So when I read about the sponsorship that has just happened of 1.2 billion in 5 years, I think it's a welcome move, and I believe that other sponsors, potential sponsors, might jump in and even make more money into the Kenya Premier League, because once you show that you have confidence with outside partners coming to sponsor the local league, then it shows something that good is going to happen. So I think, and one of the things also, like we got to say, the federation right now, all the leagues are being sponsored, from the Kenya Premier League, from the National Super League, up to the Division 1 league is being sponsored, something that has not happened for a long time. So there's something that the federation is doing right that has attracted all these sponsors to come and sponsor these leagues.
Something is going right. But the talk is very toxic at the moment about the sponsorship, whether there is sponsorship, what FIFA says about sponsorships at about a time like this. Some clubs having taken money from another sponsor who's conflicting with this sponsor. What's the way forward? I know it's a muddle, but surely there must be a way forward.
Barad, there are different sponsorship coming in with different interest in the football market. And I think, I'm not a lawyer, but clubs which have maybe signed with other sponsors, the federation will give a direction, and the good thing that they are talking right now, we have that committee from the KPL, and with the federation, their lawyers can compare notes and be able to know what should be done where. But I think, for me, I welcome any kind of sponsorship, because it's going to help football and it's going to help clubs at least move to the next level.
So we move out of the politics of it.
We don't need to politicize anything. We just look at what the clauses are saying for each kind of sponsorship, for club and also for the league. And then they'll always find a solution. I don't think there is so much to cry about.
I'm worried a little bit about the technical prowess of the country. I'm not talking about coaches alone, but I'm talking about even players who are transiting from being on-field players into the technical benches as well. Do we have enough capacity to be able to have Kenyans coaching Kenyan clubs successfully?
Barad, I'll tell you, I happen to be in the technical committee of the federation, and I will tell you that right now, I think I've never seen a good way of transiting from maybe in the technical department working very well, because we have trained a lot of coaches from the federation. I mean, when you look at, there's a lot of records there. We have coaches who have license C, we have coaches who have license B and A license. Right now, the pro license is coming to Africa now, and all these licenses, the good thing is that FIFA has been able to harmonize. If you have a B license holder in Kenya or in Africa, you are the same as a B license holder in Europe. So I think a lot is happening on the technical part, and a lot of our coaches right now, they are able even to compete with coaches outside. For example, Francis Baraza now is a coach who was coaching in Kenya. Now he's coaching in the league in Tanzania. So that shows you clearly that our coaches and the technical department is moving to the next level.
And you as an instructor, you can confirm that the quality that you're giving and what you're getting back from them is enough to be able to put the Kenyan clubs at a very good par with the rest of the clubs in Africa and also in the world.
Well, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. At least right now, when you look at the federation, they've made some good steps. And for your info, it is very good because one of the instructors from Kenya, there is the new CAF licensing that has been introduced, the new coaching licensing that has been introduced in Africa. And I'll tell you for free, Kenya has the top instructor who went to coach the rest of Africa in Morocco. So those are good news coming from Kenyan football.
Brilliant. So those are the people we should have even down here as well. Once we have the technical prowess, we have the coaches, the product is shaping up. The product needs a place, a domicile, where it is being hosted. I'm talking about stadia. I'm talking about facilities. What's your take on facilities? We know that in Nairobi, now to play soccer in Nairobi is very difficult unless you're going to the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani, or unless you're going to the Tusker ground, which probably now has some work going on, but which was very bumpy. City Stadium closed down. Nyayo Stadium has not been open to the public as well. Is that a conducive atmosphere for breeding soccer? What do you think?
For you to play good football, you need good pitches. We don't have many at the moment. They're not enough. And I'm happy that a lot of work is being done by the government. We are seeing a lot of stadiums being upgraded, though it's not enough. Clubs also, when they they own their own fields, then that will be solving the problem. But at the moment, we still don't have enough facilities to play football at the top level. But something is happening at least. So I would say maybe it will take a couple of years before we reach that level.
Why was there that decision, do you think, to start upgrading all the stadia almost at the same time? Because most of these stadia are in the county. And suddenly, all the stadia were springing up, in Eldoret, in Meru, everybody's trying to bring up a stadia. Is it a good transition? Are we in that process of having enough facilities for bringing up a good product?
I think they have realized, all these county governments, they have realized that one of the biggest things to do is to have sport in your county. And it supports the youth, it creates employment, and also it enhances your county if you have such a facility, because also it's a business,
yes,
a kind of thing. It attracts a lot of people to come into it. So it's a very good thing, and this also is going to benefit football in a way, because at the end of the day, the biggest sport in the world is football. So when you have a football stadium, you could have athletics in it, you could have other swimming, you could have basketball, but number one sport in the world is football.
So then we need to upgrade all these stadia. So you're happy with what is going on, especially at the county at the moment?
Well, I'm more than happy, and with the new sports minister, I think she has been very active. She took the office, so I believe that she's going to complete what she has. She's not started it. She has made sure that everything is going to be completed at the time that it was set.
Okay, at least the timelines are being met. Now, with the county stadia being built, has come some also new county problems, if I may call them that. They may not be problems per se, but for the federation, this is becoming a problem, because the counties are now, seeking to register county federations. We know that Mombasa has a county federation that is already causing sleepless nights to the current federation.
I read that, Bernard, and I was just trying to see how that is going to work, because at the end of the day, federation is the one which runs football in a country. Now, the county equation is a very tricky one, because I was trying to see where do the county, like for instance, the Mombasa, the registered one, where will they play their football? Because they have to be affiliated to the federation.
They need to be sanctioned by the federation.
Yes, so yes. I think it's something new. I'm not really sure how it is going to go, but we are just going to watch this space and see then what happens. Can they be integrated into the federation? Are they members of the federation? And will they be recognized by FIFA? Because FIFA doesn't recognize you if you're not affiliated to the federation. Yes. So I think that is something that needs to be worked out.
But this might manifest itself more in Kenya, because we have seen county governments sponsoring a team, probably in the Premier League, using the county funds. We know Kakamega, we know Vihiga has one, we know. And if we were assuming that we might go that way, then every county might have a football team. We might have a very good pool of players. But how will that fit into the politics of federation and FIFA if we have that kind of organization?
Bernard, I think the future, that is where it is going, where counties will have their own teams and have the money to run, because we have seen clubs struggling financially. And I think that is something that when you foresee the future, that could be the way we are heading to. But for now, I think the federation will be at liberty to run, but who knows what the future holds.
Okay. I need to bring you into the murky waters still in this politics a bit. The Sports Dispute Tribunal. What do you think what do you think is its role in all this? We've had issues that have gone to the Sports Tribunal. Mostly they were soccer issues. And decisions were made. Some have been taken, some have not been taken. The Sports Dispute Tribunal has been hit left, right, and center in terms of criticism. But then it has also been, praised in some quarters as well. Do you think they have a place to play in soccer politics or in sports politics?
No, they do. And Bernard, I have to say that to what I've been seeing, they've done a commendable job. I mean, most of the disputes that have been arising, we've been having a problem. And today, sports, you don't talk that to the court. So that is the court that is able to sort most of the disputes. And I think they've done well. And for the federation, I mean, they had a case and they ruled. And what they ruled, they also respected what FIFA answered them back. So I think it's a good thing. And I think they're on the right track.
So they're giving a good bridge between now disputes that you have in the country and FIFA, because you can't go to court, then you go to the sports dispute tribunal.
And I don't think also dispute for football only. I think they have also arbitrated in other sports disputes, and I think that is the best thing that has happened in Kenyan football, because yesteryears everybody was running to court, and court doesn't maybe even understand how to handle sports disputes. So that was a very good tribunal, and I think they are doing a good job so far.
Okay. So if you are the father of a few children and one of them is called football, how would you describe Kenyan football at the moment? How old is he or she, and what are the characteristics that he has? Where do you think he's going? You know, what is his future? How would you predict Kenyan's future in football?
Well, I think Kenyan football has has crossed a very difficult path. Sometimes you see it like it's moving towards the right direction.
Is it a teenager?
Well,
is it slightly past teenage?
I would say it's at the teenage stage.
Teenage.
Yes, and
so very stubborn.
Very stubborn, but I think it's going to move to the next level sooner than later. And I think after these elections, I think we'll get a good direction on where Kenyan football should go, because we've had back and forth a lot, but right now there's a kind of a direction. And I'll tell you, at least we can pride ourselves that we were in the last Cup of Nations. We are the champions of FKF women football. We've been to doing a lot of things. We qualified for the first time, for second time I think, for the African Cup of Nations for women. So I think a lot of things are happening on the technical part. Now, when we fix the administration part, which is now the politics of football, I think we'll be talking the same language and moving toward a good direction.
Jacob Mulee, thank you very much. That was a very candid talk about what's going on. When we fix the politics, then we will be moving on. That's what Jacob says. And I must thank him very much for having talked to us about the situation in Kenya, the situation in the technical benches. We've talked about the transition. We've literally tried to, scratch everything that there is in football and try to give a direction to it. We've given a couple of solutions. They may not be the best solutions, but maybe the way forward for the moment. The only thing I can tell you is just make sure you join us again next week for another candid talk about what's going on in Kenyan football and in sports as well, when we will be coming to you live from this location to be able to give you what we think is a solution to the sports problems in Kenya. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Have a very fabulous weekend.